because I feel guilty because I wasn't very into getting I like wanted to get sober, but I immediately relapsed after getting out. So I didn't really want to get sober. Not immediately. It took me a couple months actually. That was like I think I got a couple months, but I wasn't
Was
really
that
like
when you were with the girlfriend you were stealing from?
no, she had just thankfully for her broken up with me and for me I guess too. But like no, she left me during this period finally. But I was still really in that like manipulative mode, you know, where I was like, I think a lot of people know or eventually realize that they do this, but I wasn't even consciously doing this. In my head, like in the front part of my head, I was like, I'm trying to get sober. I'm going to turn my life around. But really, in the back of my head, it was like these same exact patterns, which of course you do, right? Like you don't go from like being a fucking stone junkie to being like, hey, like what's going on? Like in like a a genuinely honest, truthful person. Some people do. I didn't.
It's pretty hard.
It's pretty hard to do. You know, you got to go through like these sort of transitionary periods, right? And I did. I guess I didn't then, but I eventually did. And so I was like still in that sort of
But
manipulative
that was
mode.
the beginning. But that's the beginning of your process, and I feel like even though I'm far away from it, I'm still in my manipulative mode in some way.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I would be suspect of anybody who said that they don't. I mean, that's human, right? At some part of it, that's not just a junkie thing. People do that. People want something and they try to manipulate other people to get to it.
Like me and Jason Mewes.
Yeah, exactly. Even Jason Mewes. And I think the good thing about recovery is that you have the tools to like recognize that you do that and not do it. But everybody does that to some extent. The thing is, just like junkies and drunks, we just do it because we really need some medicine or whatever.
Do you remember how you wooed her at all?
I mean, again, this is like over 10 years ago. It's like 11 years ago. And I was rather hazy. But I would just like talk to her and kind of like, I mean, if you can make a girl laugh, you can generally sleep with her. But I liked her, you know. It wasn't like I was just like, I just want to fuck her or whatever. I was like, I like this person, you know. And I was just, I was 23. I was just.
I just wonder from her point of view.
I don't know.
She gets a job.
Yeah.
In a treatment center.
Yes.
Is she an addict?
No,
she
was not an addict. No.
And you make her laugh, and she's like, come on.
Yeah, and I don't think she'd really ever. She was from like a part of Florida where there weren't a lot of Jewish people. I don't think she really spent a lot of time around Jews.
So you were exotic.
I was like, yeah, what's going on? We got horns.
That's awesome.
And she was an au pair, and then we so when I got out, she got let go from the place.
They found out.
Well, they didn't. We didn't sleep. Nothing happened when she was working there. But they kind of like caught me like that style, like
macking her.
Hey, what's happening?
Yeah. You're like in a robe. And like,
yeah. I'm like in a smoking jacket with like a long cigar. Like, oh, you look beautiful, a cigarillo. But we did hook up right after I got out.
So you didn't in the spot.
Hey, we didn't in the spot, no. But like the day I got out, or something, like maybe the next day, and we did a few times. I don't really remember because I basically immediately started doing drugs again, and then I guess I ghosted her, but it wasn't really ghosting. I just ghosted everything in my life because I was now focused on trying to not get caught doing drugs in the halfway house, which I did. Well, no, actually not in that halfway house. I don't know what happened. Oh no, I did get caught. Yeah.
What were you using in there?
A little drug called crystal meth, and another little one called heroin.
You were shooting it in there?
Oh yeah.
And how did they catch you? I'm just curious. Do you remember the end of your run in there?
I can remember one. I can remember one halfway house I got kicked out of like right after I moved in because I was like they had like a meeting to introduce me to everybody, and it was like the second day I got there, and I was like, hey, what's up? I'm Brace. And they're like, you're on heroin. You have to leave. Yeah. And I actually don't, now that I think about it, I was sort of flipping like, yeah, I got kicked out. But I actually don't really recall what led to me getting kicked out. But I did. I moved back in with my parents, I guess. No. Wait. No, I moved into I moved back in with my parents for a second. I moved to a basement apartment, and that's when I finally got sober. Because yeah.
And you never saw the tech again?
No, she sent me a text being like, what the fuck, you like ghosted me, and I felt so guilty about it, even though I was on drugs. that I was like, I never think about this again. In retrospect, like I always felt guilty. I feel really guilty around women's stuff a lot, even if I haven't done anything wrong. But like
Guilty how?
just like I'm like I hurt this woman, you know, like and like that's not an okay thing to do. And I did. That is true on some face of it. It also you shouldn't have sex with people who work at the treatment program you work at. But I'm like she wasn't counselor. I mean, it was just like and my
Dude,
view.
you're the fucking client. She shouldn't have sex with you.
Whatever.
You're the
She's
sick.
23.
So
Yeah.
were you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Listen, you're fun-loving kids having a
Yeah,
good time.
it's you know it didn't hurt any. Well, I guess no. That's the thing is like
You
it
hurt
didn't
her
hurt me.
feelings.
I hurt her feelings.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I was gonna realize I didn't care about anything except for myself and drugs, anyways. So like she couldn't do anything to hurt my feelings except maybe prevent me from doing heroin. And
She couldn't do that. No,
she couldn't do that.
No earthly,
power could.
No,
let
earthly
alone
power.
let alone an employee of a rehab.
No way.
And so like she really wasn't in a position to hurt me at all, but I was in a position to hurt her, and I did. Not because I wanted to or even thinking about her at all, but you know I did. And I think for me that just like reinforced what I viewed very much as a pattern of me at the time of like taking advantage of women in order to get drugs. But even though that's not what I did with her at all.
So when's the last time you communicated with her?
Then I mean I don't I can't remember.
Some woman, and I shouldn't mention this on the show, we might have to take it out, but this woman who I hooked up with in sober living in Florida,
Yeah.
I like hooked up with her in treatment, and then I moved into sober living, and we had a relationship, I guess. She recently reached out to me because of Dopey, and she said that she was in love with me in Florida, and it was such a good time for her, and I was like, that's fantastic.
That's great.
It's such a nice.
That's so nice.
But you know, you
Yeah.
can't get.
The thing is, like, rehab romances happen. It never happened with me. No, none of the girls in the rehabs ever give me the time of day. But rehab romances are very common. I will caution against them because oftentimes a lot of people hook up with someone in a rehab and then they just relapse together afterwards. Because you got two fresh dope fiends out on the street, you know, kind of being like, we're gonna do this, and like all this excitement or whatever. Well, when we get excited, what do? Dope.
Well, two sickies don't make a willie.
No, you need three. So now with the advent of polyamory,
Right.
so I'm telling you now, Adam, what you gotta do in this motherfucking rehab. Dave's too afraid to tell you this shit because he's PC.
Let him know.
But I'm not.
Let him know.
I'm telling you this. Broach the subject. Just out of the next to the little group therapy thing you guys have, just be like, everyone's crying. Oh, I miss drinking. Oh, I what everyone's feelings. Be like this. Check it out. What about we all move out of here into a big house together where we're all boyfriend girlfriend,
And we fuck.
and we go crazy in a crazy way. And I'm telling you this, you'll change their whole shit. No one's ever done that before. Jim Jones.
And what's the guy? The House of Love, the Love Cult.
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
thing?
that was also that.
And there's a lot of just drinking and using. And that.
But also think about this. Maybe you guys should all start worshiping a guru.
I was thinking of starting a cult.
Bill Wilson.
I don't know. It's like I.
You
don't-
couldn't do it.
No. Why? Why couldn't I do it? I'm not charismatic enough.
No, you just aren't. You aren't. You're too. You tell people when you do something that you think is stupid, right?
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, you have to be like. You have to be a perfect master.
Like Biden.
Like Biden. Like if Biden came up there and was like, if Biden led me in 6-day silent retreat, wouldn't say a word.
Let me ask you this: nitrous.
Mm-hmm.
People say there's a new nitrous epidemic.
Oh.
What were you
I thought you
saying?
said there's a new nitrous, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a flavored nitrous.
Maybe time for a lost weekend.
Did you like nitrous?
I wasn't a whippet head like some guys I know. Like some guys, you go to their house and you sit on the couch, and you're like, it's almost like you're on a waterbed or something because there's so many nitrous fucking canisters underneath there. I did it, sure, but I noticed years later that it became more common in public rather than like at parties. Like I would see people doing it at shows and stuff. Balloons. And but we would just do it like, you know, because you just buy like a thing of whippets from the smoke shop.
But now they're selling tanks in the smoke shop like the size of your water bottle.
Really? Like a this?
Yeah, or a little bit bigger.
Wow.
And people are just like in sober living because they can't test for it,
What?
sucking it down. That's a whole new thing.
I mean, my brother. I don't know. I don't even know what. If someone I've met whippet head, not whippet heads. Duster. I met a duster guy before. I met two.
Did you ever huff anything?
Yeah. Duster, whippets. That's it.
I don't think huffing duster is like nitrous.
No, but
Because
it's
huffing is just like shutting off.
no,
oxygen.
you're still doing. Yeah, I mean, it still makes you feel. But the thing is, like, neither are like drugs. You know, I mean, they are like in the sense that like you're not sober, but like it's not like they both last for about 10 seconds and you feel like lightheaded.
I love nitrous.
I liked it, but I did feel after the first time I did it, which was at South by Southwest when I was like 17, and I did feel genuinely dumber afterwards. I was like, this doesn't seem good for my brain.
See, since I've done Dopey, I've talked about how much I like nitrous. When I go to the dentist, I request it. Now I'm looking for a dentist to give me nitrous because I just don't want to go to the dentist without nitrous.
Is that how they put you out?
No, they I don't
That's
think
laughing gas, right?
Yeah, that's.
I've never been to a dentist where they've even offered it.
Well, I'm not going to a dentist without it ever again.
They yanked my tooth a few years ago. The guy just put a shot in and went with
Right.
a fucking pliers.
I've gotten to this point where, like, at the dentist, I say,
You're looking for a free lapse.
I'm looking for a free lapse, exactly, and people give me a hard time about it.
Well, because you're looking for a free lapse.
I think it's totally acceptable. I'm fearful of dentistry, and they offer me a nitrous.
I'm also fearful of dentistry.
So you're saying you can't take nitrous?
They don't
because
even
of-
they don't offer. I would say yes,
You've
but
never heard of Comfort Care?
what is comfort care?
That's nitrous at the dentist.
No,
I have a ghetto
I went to the
dentist.
free dentist. The
Right.
ghetto dentist gives it to you. The ghetto dentist didn't give it to me.
The ghetto dentist gave it to me the first time and charged me. Then I
They always
asked
charge
him.
you.
Then I asked him to charge me for it again, and he said no. And now I haven't been to the dentist in a little while. I need to go to the dentist. I need nitrous at the dentist. But a woman recently wrote in a email about being in sober living and relapsing on one of these tanks.
Wow.
And imagining that gave me this headache, and now I'm like not sure that I really want it. But a little nitrous in the dentist office still sounds good.
They don't even offer it to
So
me.
you-
I'd take it if they offered.
Right. So you feel good about that.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, well, I'm not. I relapsed on nitrous to me is. I get it. You know, I relapsed on. I fucking snorted Wellbutrin when I was in sober living.
This girl did that too on this relapse.
She snorted Wellbutrin.
That girl that I was
Baby, I'm telling you, it doesn't feel too good, does it? Because I read on the internet that it gave you a, quote, cocaine-like high. Now, I've done a lot of bad cocaine in my life, but I've never done cocaine that bad before.
What about Kava? You ever did Kava?
I think I bought it. Do they sell it at Walgreens?
I don't know.
I
Probably.
think when I was one time, because I would try these like home remedies to like detox from dope, and I think I might have bought that one time.
What about Kratom?
They didn't have that out yet.
Did you ever do Kratom?
It wasn't out yet.
Right.
I mean, maybe it was, but I'd never heard of it, so no.
What about Jesus Christ? What do you think I need? What can I do about my mic? It's like, is it the connection? I don't know. What about ketamine?
No, I did ketamine one time from a guy that I know he's not listening to this show, but
How
I
do you
see
know?
him frequently. He gave me after a motherfucking. I went and saw the OCs at a bowling alley in Daly City, and I went to a party at Kirk's house. Not gonna say his last name, but
Was it Kirk Hammett?
no, but he works at a trendy new vegan burger spot here in Manhattan, and I go to his house, and there's a line. This is like 16 years ago. There's lines on a CD case. He's like, "Do you want to do some white lines in a CD case in fucking 2010? That's cocaine." Not. I do like 2 lines, and he's like, "Wow, you really like ketamine, huh?" And it did not turn out well.
It was like a ketamine meme.
Yeah.
You didn't like it.
I just didn't. I wasn't prepared for it. And I didn't want to do it, and so I didn't really like it. No.
What's your feeling about ibogaine?
I don't know, man. I mean, I just it seems like a fucking nightmare. See, to me, anytime I've ever heard a description of ibogaine, I'm like, I would rather have diarrhea for 4 days
Right.
in like a detox surrounded by a bunch of crackheads than like a shaman.
I think it's pronounced shaman.
Shaman.
What about ayahuasca?
Isn't that?
Similar.
So I guess
Similar.
No, ayahuasca. People, ibogaine is for getting off heroin.
Yeah.
Ayahuasca, you're like getting in touch with God.
Yeah.
Here's my deal. if God exists, if the spirit world exists, I'll get to that when I die. Okay, I'm not trying to rock with fucking the nightmares of 1,000 screaming great grandparents ever. Ayahuasca, any description of the ayahuasca trip I've ever heard sounds like someone's description of a hidden layer of hell that Dante forgot to write about. I am good on ayahuasca. If I do drugs, if I do psychedelics even, acid makes my body feel good and it makes me listen to, I love John Coltrane. Ayahuasca, you're like, and the nightmares are here. I don't want the nightmares to be here, man. Whatever problem that's going to fix, I'm good with the problem. Okay?
So you prefer LSD to ayahuasca?
Absolutely I would.
Mushrooms or LSD?
You know what? I don't like mushrooms because the first time I did mushrooms, this girl at this party thought I was somebody else, someone I had never met before or interacted with in any way in my life, who was really drunk. This drunk girl had a problem with some guy at this party who had glasses or like was Jewish looking. She thought I was him, and I was like standing outside this party. This isn't just me misremembering. I literally had never seen this person in my life or interacted with them in any way. They didn't know who I was. They thought I was someone else. She poured a beer on me, and then my friend, who is actually now sober, a woman I know whose name starts with A, started punching this chick, and I saw her knuckle the girl's eyes.
You saw her knuckles do what to her eyes?
Like, she was like grounding her knuckles in her eyes. She didn't poke her eyes
you're
out.
tripping.
And I'm tripping. I'm like, ugh. But that was the only time I ever did mushrooms, because I was like, after that, I'm like, I'm good. Because they didn't make
But
me feel
acid,
good.
you like how acid makes
I
you
liked
feel.
how acid made me feel, but I don't like psychedelics that much.
No, I can tell.
Yeah.
What about ecstasy?
I did ecstasy twice. One time I did every drug in a week as much as possible. That was like for an article I wrote, and like
What was the article? Every drug in a week?
every drug in a week as much as possible for the health issue this rock magazine used to write for.
Maximum rock and roll.
Exactly. And I don't remember really how it made me feel because I also did heroin, and I liked the heroin a lot, the ecstasy, and then I did it another time on a Halloween. No, it was MDMA the second time I did it, which I don't really get the difference.
That's what I was going to ask.
But this girl gave me a notorious actress gave me.
Was it Kate Hudson?
No, not a very famous one. Gave me MDMA, and then I saw this guy. I saw a homophobic confrontation where this guy I hate, the most evil guy in San Francisco, was bullying this guy.
Was it Bobby Dukes?
No. Bobby Dukes maybe knows this guy though. This is like a truly evil gentleman. Was like bullying this one guy that we know who isn't gay, by the way, who just looks kind of gay, I guess. But he doesn't really even look gay in a way that people be like, you're a gay guy. He's just sort of effeminate. And like I was like bullying him and calling him the rude gay F word. And this dude I know, Tim, jumps out of the bushes full bunny. He was a Halloween full bunny outfit and smashes a baby pumpkin on the dude's head. And like runs away, and the guy's like, "What the fuck is that?" And he like came back with a bunch of his friends. Everyone's gone. Anyway, but I don't remember anything besides that really from that night.
And you were on ecstasy.
I was on MDMA.
One of my favorite things was being on MDMA and heroin at the same time. It's like one of the greatest combinations.
It probably rules.
It's not talked about enough.
No.
One time, it was like one night at a Halloween party, I decided somebody had a bunch of ecstasy, and he was like, "Do you want to go sell the ecstasy?" And I was like, "Sure." So I went to the Halloween party and I sold a bunch of ecstasy, and I was a heroin addict.
Yeah.
And I met this girl, this very attractive girl.
Sounds like an incredible night already.
And I wound up going back to her apartment.
Amazing.
But I also had coke. And I
Oh
went
my
home.
God.
I know. I went home and I got coke and heroin and ecstasy. And this was the one. And
a girl?
Yeah, and a girl.
On Halloween?
On Halloween.
What?
But listen, this is the only.
Amazing.
I was a drug addict for 13 years,
Yeah.
14 years, whatever. I smoked weed every day for 20 years. This was the only night that this kind of thing happened. Ecstasy, coke, and heroin, and a girl. And I fell in love with the girl. And we did heroin, and we were tripping on ecstasy. And I was like, I love you. I just want to be with you forever. And I never saw her again.
Yeah.
But it was such a love thing. And I always wanted my MDMA, my ecstasy. I don't think I ever did MDMA. I think I just did ecstasy.
Yeah, I don't really know.
And I always wanted it to be dopey. And when we talked about the show title, I was like, I love my ecstasy to be dopey. and it went together.
Yeah, I that's an incredible combination. That did not happen to me.
It was love. It was total love. What the fuck does that say?
Just drugs.
Dope.
Dope. Are you just asking me if I've done all these drugs?
No, this is just like some notes.
That says dope. Dope.
What does it say?
That says
Doper?
dope. I would assume that last letter is an R. Kind of trails off. Definitely, that's a DOP, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe donor, like a kebab.
I don't know.
Have I done dope?
What-
I love
Why does this say Tex?
Tex. I don't know. Maybe a Tex-Mex. I've had that.
Why
I'll
do
tell you this.
I
I'll tell you
don't
this.
know.
I've done most drugs.
Mhm.
I love heroin. Everything else is just I don't give a fuck about. You know. You had a line of fucking coke out right here. Actually, if you had a line of heroin, I probably wouldn't carry it.
You wouldn't.
But you had a line of coke out right here. I'd be like, get this away from me. Pathetic. You had a fucking little whatever, some weed. Disgusting.
You didn't like.
I'm setting that shit on fire, but not smoking it. But you had heroin, I'd be like, that rocks. But I wouldn't do it. It's heroin is the only one that I was like, this is for me.
But you would do nitrous at the dentist's office and nothing about it.
I would take the nitrous, sure, but I wouldn't pay extra for it.
All right, I came up with a stupid game. All right, it's a stupid game. I don't have high expectations of this game.
Mario Tennis.
We play a game. It's not really a game. I come up with two things, and the person picks what they like better. But I heard you on that episode of TrueAnon talking to Liz about like how some people say lawyer and some people say attorney.
Yeah.
So I started with asking. I just wrote Beatles or Stones.
Stones.
Okay.
It went a heartbeat, the Stones.
When you're talking about something, do you say ecstasy or do you say Molly?
Ecstasy.
Do you say lawyer or attorney?
I say lawyer.
Do you say Manhattan or the city?
Manhattan, because San Francisco's the city to me.
That's weird.
We call it the city. It's called the Bay Area. You call it the city.
Do you say punk music or punk rock?
Punk rock. Or I just say punk.
You just say punk. Do you say Biden or Sleepy Joe?
Brandon.
Brandon. You say Brandon?
I say Brandon.
All right. Do you say Guns N' Roses or GNR?
I don't say either because I don't like Guns N' Roses.
Do you
One of
say-
the few rock bands I hate.
Why do you hate Guns
I don't
N'
like
Roses?
I don't like his voice.
I don't like his voice either, but the grooves are undeniable.
The grooves are undeniable, but I don't. I prefer. There's no sensitivity in it.
You know who I interviewed this week? Steve Stevens, Billy Idol's guitar player.
Whoa, that's sick.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was
okay.
weird. It was not much drugs and not much recovery. And not
What
much,
are you talking
and
about?
We're talking about like guitarists
Okay,
and
yeah.
stuff. We're talking about who he likes.
Yeah.
Like,
Who's he like? Who's his guys?
Who he likes.
Clapton.
No, he likes oh, it's so funny. He likes Steve Howe from Yes. That's who he likes.
Okay, I don't like Yes.
I don't like Yes either. But I like Steve Stevens. I like White Wedding and all that shit.
Yeah, it's good.
I also thought that Billy Idol was sober. And he drinks occasionally. And he was a horrible heroin addict.
Really?
Yeah. Billy Idol does not have...
Some people.
It's amazing. All right, let's get back to this. Ha 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 or LOL.
So, I hate texting. But I hit people with the ha 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 to give me a second to be like, I have to text them back.
You hit me with the ha ha ha.
I hit everyone with it.
I write ha ha ha.
I do ha ha ha. LOL to me always seems like somebody whose feelings are hurt, who's trying to make you seem like they are in charge.
Chris, who used to be alive on the show, would say, I lolled.
Yeah, people say that.
Which is very sweet. Dope or heroin?
Heroin,
Meth or speed?
meth,
Coke or blow?
coke,
Weed or pot?
weed,
Acid or LSD?
acid.
Emo or emotional hardcore?
Emotional hardcore because I feel like it's more dismissive.
I wish I had more. This is a fun game.
How about for you?
You got none. Come up with something.
Mexico, Canada,
Oh, Mexico all day.
Europe, or Asia.
Europe.
Interesting to think about it.
I didn't really think about
Boat or plane?
it. Boat.
Boat.
Yeah. I love being on the water.
You do.
I hate being on a plane.
I hate being on a
I
plane.
hate the compression.
I don't like it at all.
I hate the compression.
And then here's the thing with the plane: if something goes wrong, it's kind of an all or nothing.
And you can't open the window.
There, we can't open the window. I can't sleep without a window open.
You know what I hate?
What?
My wife doesn't let me have the window open in our car. She doesn't let me open the window. I'm just like another fucking idiot on the road in a beautiful day. Fucking, it's not even hot. 70 degrees. I want my arm out the window.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like a dog.
The
I need
breeze.
I need it all.
I need the
I'm not
breeze.
allowed to open the window. And
What
guess who-
happens if
guess,
you do?
Guess who drives?
She does?
Yes.
Fair enough, then.
Yeah, well, she calls the shot.
Which are your kids?
Huh?
Which are your kids?
What do you mean?
Pick one.
I can't.
This is why you know that he's lying.
I can't pick a kid.
You can't pick a kid?
I probably.
There's a fucking famous book and movie about this.
What is it?
Sophie's Choice.
I never saw it. Did you see that?
I've never
movie?
seen it, but I read the book.
And she
the
chooses
book's
the
really
kid.
good.
She has to choose the kid.
She has to choose one of the kids.
Who
and
does
it's-
she choose?
Sophie Jr.
Sophie
Jr. Sophie too. I'll tell you this. I don't remember which kid she chooses. I just remember most of the book. I thought the book was like gonna be a Holocaust book. It's by William Styron, who wrote a really great book about depression. Actually, very short. It's not a book. It's a fucking article they made into a book. It's like 60 pages. But he wrote a really good book about suicidal depression. But he also wrote a great book about post-war Italy, or not post-war Italy, about these people in this town in post-war Italy. And he wrote Sophie's Choice. And I read Sophie's Choice. I've never seen Sophie's Choice, although I guess I should watch it. But it's mostly about the guy fucking Sophie, or like wanting to fuck Sophie. Like, it's about a guy who lives in New York who's trying to fuck a Sophie.
And Sophie's choice is will she accept the penis or not?
No, he's just like, this chick is all crazy and mysterious and fucked
I
up.
wanna
And then he
fuck her.
found out about what happened in
Right.
the camp. And
And
he's
then,
like,
oh, that's why.
oh,
Right.
I'm still trying to hit though. But Sophie is fucking another dude most of the story. I really just remember because I like the way the book was written. I don't remember a ton. I read it like 8 years ago.
I could not. I mean, you're talking that you wanted to have children. I would love to pose that question for you if you ever have a.
So if you want to give me a Sophie's Choice, I bet he would. I bet he would love to do Sophie's Choice to me.
I love.
Capo.
I really love. I mean, I think. I really don't have a favorite kid.
I'm not asking you that seriously.
No, but I'm thinking about it. Like, do I have a favorite kid? And I don't. That's all.
God or Jesus?
Either way.
She gotta be Jesus for me.
Either way.
Gotta be Jesus for me.
How are you with God in general?
I don't think about it. I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
You're in this society, this secret society that says the only answer is God.
Are you talking about Judaism?
Yes.
No, but that like that recovery stuff.
You hate that shit, don't you?
I'm gonna
That's
be
why
honest
you
with
don't
you.
have a sponsor. That's why
No,
you're
no,
horrible.
I
It's
do
'cause
it.
You hate all
I
that
do
shit.
it all. I do it. The way I think about God in
Yeah.
recovery
Uh-huh.
is that I was willing to. I would have not at the point where I got sober,
Mm.
but where I was heading is that I would have sucked a dick for a little bit of dope,
Mhm.
right? Am I gonna pray to get so? Fine, you know, I'll do whatever.
Did you do it?
I view praying.
Did
in
you
this-
do it?
Did I suck a guy's dick?
Did you pray to get sober?
No.
Did you
Yes,
pray in
I did.
recovery?
Yes, I do pray. I do pray.
How often?
Wow, that's not.
How often?
You asked me if I do it. I pray once every couple weeks, a fortnight.
What
once
does
a
it,
fortnight.
What does it look like?
Me.
You like candles?
No.
What do you do?
What do you mean, like candles?
Once
Once every do that in the big book.
Once every 2 weeks. What is happening?
I hit my. Well, I get on my knees. It's usually like at 3 a.m. I'm like, please God,
Let me sleep."
fucking sleep. I'm
Yeah.
not even joking.
Yeah.
I beseech God to let me sleep.
And that's when you sleep.
I don't believe, like, I don't, you know, I guess I believe in God in one sense, but then if I think about it, I'm going to say I don't. And so I just don't think about it.
My
I can't-
conception is that God is not God, that God is like reality.
Yeah,
That's
same.
my conception.
But, yeah, it's whatever's bigger than me,
So if
sure.
God is reality, if God isn't what I want, it's what is. I can pray to that.
Yes. That is the only way I can, because like, I did actually really try for a while to be like, I believe in God. But then I'm like, I don't. Like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I don't know what that means. I'm not religious. And like all of the, like, any sort of conception of God as like a being or like something that is imbued with some kind of consciousness or whatever, not a consciousness, but is essentially just cribbing from one of the major religions. And so I'm like, I'm not religious. I'm irreligious. And so like I'm lying if I say this, or I'm like, I'm not fucking Christian. Like, so I'm like, I'm not gonna like use a Christian, because there is a specific, Christian, Muslim, and Jewish, but like Jewish is a little different. So is Islam's, but like a lot of the like main line that we hear people talk about God, if they're not, there wasn't related religious, what they default to is this Christian conception of it. And I don't mean that like in a conservative, I mean
But do you
like
think
genuinely.
around AA? Do you
Yeah.
think that's what it is?
I think that's what people, including myself, default to because it's a popular conception of God. For me, I'm like, what I pray to is I pray, beseech the universe, whatever. It really just putting it out there that like, and I'm humbling myself by doing something that I think is I wouldn't genuinely do, or I wouldn't generally do, not genuinely. I wouldn't generally, I'm telling myself there, but I wouldn't generally do. Because I'm in crisis and like
So you're just white knuckling.
No, what do you mean? What? Well, I'm sorry.
That's white knuckling it.
Oh,
That's what it's called, knuckleballing it.
really?
Yeah.
Well, what do you want me to lie?
I certainly don't want you to lie.
Because I would be I did lie to people for a long time. And I said,
I
like,
don't fucking care if you pray or you don't pray. You're telling me you pray when you're super desperate to go to sleep.
Yes.
That's white knuckling it.
But I guess I do. I not go to sleep.
You know,
But like, do I?
I don't have a judgment. I don't fucking
For
care.
a really long time, I like stressed about whether I believe in God, and like I would lie to people and say like I definitely believe in God.
Who were you lying to? Just people.
People in recovery and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
And the fact is, like, I don't ever mention it. I mean, I guess I mention it on a podcast, but like, I don't talk about it. I try to. I believe in something bigger than myself. Absolutely.
How about all
I believe
that God's will business?
What does that mean?
That's rough.
Tell me what it means.
For me, because I'm similar to you.
Yeah.
Like I have the same feeling, but I've really conditioned myself to it being like, all right, I'm fucking programmed out.
Yeah.
Right at my core because I'm fucking mentally ill.
Yeah.
So like I heard someone say recently, there is no problem that doesn't have a spiritual solution. And I'm like, I want a solution for all my problems.
Mhm.
So if my solution is praying to God,
Yeah.
and my God is everything,
Yeah.
and not Jesus or
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
an
yeah,
entity
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever, I can deal with that. I can do that. I can. But when it's God's will, right? I guess it was in the beginning when I wanted stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and then people would be like, well, is your will aligned with God's will? And I'd be like, I don't know. But then someone told me that your will is, I think what he said is your will is only aligned with God's will when you're helping people.
Okay. That's like, but like that's the thing. Is like I guess I agree with that, but like I'm not going to presume. Like, listen.
There is no God's will.
That's like
There
that's
is
like
no
exactly.
God.
So when people say that,
But
like God's will, not mine, be done. Whatever. I'm like, well, that's usually like, so it's my will when I'm trying to do something that's like not gonna happen or is bad for me, and it's God's will. God, I had a sponsor, my old sponsor, that for a long time, basically was just like God's will is whatever's happening. I'm like, I can believe that. You know what I mean?
I believe
There's
that.
only one way that things are ever gonna happen, and that's the way they happened or are happening.
That's exactly the way.
That
I
is
believe
just
it.
the fucking facts.
But it's
And
like, but it's like if there's a dictator, if there's a massacre,
God's will?
That's
God's will.
If there's an earthquake,
And so
if there's
it's
a
like
hurricane,
you can't think about it because it's fucking stupid. And I'm sorry, it is.
Good for you.
But you know what? All this shit's stupid. And so like I don't think about it. And I don't make up like my thing is with the God stuff is just like I don't make a big deal out of it because what am I gonna do about it? No, man. If it helps somebody, I don't give a fuck. I would say there's probably like who knows what percentage of the program is just like.
But didn't it help you when you needed it to?
No.
It didn't.
What
So
you
what?
mean? You know what helped me?
Tell
Other
me.
human beings helped me. Other human beings who picked up the phone, who either I called them or they called
You
me
know what
or
program
would talk to
that?
me. What?
That was God reaching out to you.
No, that was that person reaching out to me.
Is this
And
help-
like
is
it's
this helping you right now, bro?
It's just it's ridiculous, but I don't care, you know?
I think
I'm never gonna tell somebody that like what you believe is wrong or whatever. If that's helping them, maybe it'll help me someday. There could very well be a day where I myself am like, God, because I do believe in God in some way. Like I do believe in some ineffable, unknowable thing. I just like I realize that my conception of God that I was using as a framework, and that is sort of the default framework throughout the big book, is like the conception of like a Christian God, whatever language they try to gussy it up. God of my own understanding. I'm not going to presume. I am Jewish, so at least there's that. I'm not going to presume to understand God. We're afraid to even say His motherfucking name most of the time. It's just to me. I'm just like I believe in the power of human beings working together in a concerted effort to help other human beings. I can see that works. I know that works. And my life has been changed in every conceivable way from that. When people say God means group of drunks, that's like a way for like, oh, it took a cheat code to get around it. I actually do believe that. Like I believe like that whatever power people ascribe to God.
This is beautiful, Bryce.
Is the power
This
that
is
people,
fucking beautiful.
The people, what has helped me get sober. I become a fucking. I was a wretched fucking junkie. I was pathetic. I pissed my pants. I was dirty. I was nasty. My dick fucking stunk. My body fucking stunk. My brain fucking stunk.
We need to shoot this in a vertical as a reel because this is the.
But
golden
the thing that helped me was other wretched pieces of shit who had somehow, because other wretched pieces of shit helped them, helped me, and that is how I'm able to function and go to the fucking grocery store today. Whether that's God, whatever you want to call it, what I see and what I know is other people who were not getting paid, who were not being told to do that by a court or a cop or anything, who were just regular people who have jobs, who are busy, who have worries, who have people yelling at them in their lives, who are probably not the best people all the time. For whatever selfish or unselfish reason, they took time out of their life to help a complete stranger stop being a piece of shit. And that to me is like that is
God.
I don't need to have conception or pray to something.
It's the word that is so crippling to you.
It's not even I don't think about it. This is the most agitated I've ever gotten about it. Because I do get frustrated when I hear people say God's will thing. Because I'm like, if God exists, you don't know His will, you fucking motherfucker. Like you don't know His will. What is God? What are you talking about? You're talking about like a crazy eldritch being that created the universe.
Who's Eldritch Bean?
Eldritch, it's like a some sort of cosmic deity that is.
Where does
generally
Eldritch
malevolent.
Bean come from?
It comes from what's his fucking name? The guy who wrote Cthulhu.
I don't know.
You know?
Oh, I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that
Yeah,
guy. I don't think it actually comes from him. I think he just described. I think the word eldritch generally describes some sort of like ancient, but malevolent force.
Eldritch?
Eldritch.
Like
yeah.
Eldridge Street.
No, eldritch. Like ELDRITCH.
What is that? Where does that come from?
What do you mean?
Well, you're giving me. Where's Eldritch?
2 years in high school.
What language is Eldritch?
Probably English.
Okay.
We have a rockin' language.
Listen, you did a good job. You did a really good job. It reminded me of the song Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace.
No, Amazing Grace. Amazing
How
Grace.
sweet,
How sweet this guy. He
But
saved
that's
the
I just want I
rest
just
of me.
like to me I guess I just like I get frustrated. That's my last thing I'll say. I get frustrated because like I'm not God. None of the people who help me are God. But like there is
really firing
something.
you up. This is good.
Because I do believe I believe that there is something. I don't believe that any person is individually great. I mean, some people are fucking Bowie or whatever. But like Bowie needed all the guys who like produced Low. He needed the fucking guys to play bass on that record. You know, it's in order to make something truly incredible, truly transcendent, or truly beautiful and life-changing for people, including something like getting sober, is you do need other people. And like that to me is something that I guess is holy, but I don't know if it's like God has something to do with it.
It's beautiful, and I think what you said is beautiful. And I told you the story about my friend Ray's husband was Bowie's. You remember my friend?
Yeah,
Ray?
you talk about that.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And you heard about the paintings in his house?
No.
Okay, you ready for the story?
Right, tell me about it.
Ray's husband, his name is Tony. He was David Bowie's tour manager on the Ziggy Stardust tour.
So sick.
And he was just like on the tour, and then he started like making sure like that people had car keys and this and that. And Bowie's like, "Can you manage the tour?"
Can you be my tour manager?
Exactly.
I don't know why he's in the Beatles.
It's good. It's very good. So Tony says, "Sure, whatever," and he runs the tour. And then Tony becomes some kind of I don't know what he.
What's his last name?
Zanetta.
Okay.
And I don't know what he wound up doing. But he was like an arty kind of New York City guy. And fast forward 30 years, and they lived on 14th Street in this rent-control apartment. And Ray goes into his closet, and he finds a chest in the closet. And he opens up the chest, and it's got 30 David Bowie paintings of skulls.
What's he do with them?
He's selling.
How much?
A lot of money.
Yeah.
Ray hasn't worked in years.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible? Can you imagine? Would you say that's God's will? Or Bowie.
Yeah, that's God's. Well, Bowie is God. No, but Clapton is God. That's crazy that someone at some point was like, Clapton's God.
Well,
Clapton is God?
I think when you were on last time, we talked about Clapton.
I don't like Clapton. I don't like that British people thought they could play the blues.
You don't like that.
I don't really like. I'm not gonna be like one of the people.
You don't like the blues, though, really.
I do like the
Who
blues.
do you like?
But I mean, I like the greats or whatever.
Who do you like? You like B.B. King?
Not really.
You like John Lee Hooker?
I like Muddy. Yeah, John Lee Hooker's
Sonny
alright.
Boy Williamson?
I like Muddy Waters.
Muddy
you know?
Waters is great. What's his face? Who am I thinking of that I really like? It doesn't matter. But you don't like Clapton.
Well, I just no. To me, I guess the way I think of it is that blues, like more than most kinds of music, came out of a specific cultural context, right? Like country music is kind of similar in this way. Well, they're very similar in general, but like they come out of a specific cultural context, and so like when people like
Adopt
when
it.
the Stones do country or whatever, and you say, I don't understand.
You don't like it.
I actually do. It sounds good to
What's
me,
not to
but
like?
it's so stupid.
So do you prefer this? Here's a stupid question. You like the Stones?
I love the Stones.
Do you?
Oh my
Do you
God.
prefer the Stones doing blues or country?
Country.
And what do you?
Because I think the blue stuff is just all those fucking British bands. Their first two albums are just them doing like 50 boring fucking covers, and then like 2 sick originals.
But when the Stones do "I Got the Blues," it feels pretty.
Yeah, but they're like
That
but it's
song.
but yes, and like they were bluesy for like longer than, well, I guess the other ones were doing like rock and roll style blues or whatever, but like Chuck Berry shit.
Did you see the fucking documentary? It's called Brian Jones and the Rolling Stones.
No, I don't like music documentaries generally, but
You're a very strange person.
I saw one the other night,
What'd you say?
the Genesis Peorage one.
What is that?
Don't even get me started.
Genesis, the band?
No, the person from Psychic TV.
I don't know anything about it.
Oh, that's crazy.
But hold on. So it was a documentary on Brian Jones. Do you know that Brian Jones had 5 kids with 5 different women?
Respect.
And like you didn't know
He is a
that?
blues man.
That's what I'm saying.
You know about Dee Dee Ramone, something similar in South America.
How many?
They don't know, but something like 60 kids. Screaming Jay Hawkins. There's a website called Jay's Kids,
No.
where if you were one of Screaming Jay Hawkins' dozens of unacknowledged children that he had on his tours across the U.S., there's like giant family reunions for you.
So Bowie.
There's like kid at 50.
Wow. I mean, Screaming Jay Hawkins. He populated the.
Yeah.
He was one of these breeders.
He's one of these breeders.
And you are looking forward to becoming a breeder.
I want to have kids, yeah, because I want to pass on the heroin gene.
Well, I fear that a lot. Do you fear that at all?
There's no, we don't know what does it.
You're
Do you?
Do I know? But everyone is saying disease, genetics.
We don't know.
Do you think it's
maybe
a disease?
someone does?
Disease?
What is a disease? I don't know.
Disease?
It acts like a disease on me, so it's a good shorthand terminology. But I remember one time I would think I was in a rehab, and someone was like, "Wait, is it actually like a disease?" And I was like,
No.
"I think it's a mental disorder."
We always said affliction.
Yeah, I mean, I did get diagnosed officially. The only mental diagnosis I've ever had besides ADD was I was addicted. I was diagnosed with substance use disorder, which just means you're a drug addict. Yeah, so you have it too.
Well, they changed it from addiction to substance use disorder.
Oh, because you can use. Oh, yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who
I was just like, I didn't even know this was. I guess that makes they would.
I
do that.
love your God rant. I think that was fantastic.
I love God.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah,
You did?
yeah.
Will you come back?
I'll come back.
You will?
They don't want me back. I talk about politics too much.
No, I let you do that.
But people but you're gonna find out. People get pissed off when you talk about politics.
We're not going to use all of it, but we're definitely going to use the preview, the election preview. It was great.
Who else is running?
I don't know. Trump.
Is Jill Stein running again? Can't stand her.
Trump, Biden, and what's his face?
Trump's
Kennedy.
never drank.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't know if Biden really drinks either.
Hmm.
We need an alcoholic president.
Haven't we had any of those?
Yeah, we have, but I can't really think of. I'm not like too up on their personal lives, so I can't think of who was.
And there's no junkie president. There's no.
Kennedy, I feel like was doing a little
The
bit.
closest.
Like I think Kennedy was like on a lot of drugs.
He was taking LSD and fucking marijuana.
Yeah, Kennedy was an addict.
He was the best though.
JFK.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was. You know, the crazy thing is, if you look at like a high definition picture of Kennedy, you're like, he's kind of ugly.
I know,
in some
but
ways.
it's decided
But
he was.
he's bloated from drink.
He was an alcoholic. He got to fuck whoever he wanted, take LSD.
When his pimple got popped, half of the shit that came out of it was just pure liquor.
Thank you, Bryce. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, I had a great time.
Will you come back?
I'll come back. You
You'll
already
come-
asked me that.
Will you be?
What am I, Jason Mewes?
You're my Jewish. You're my
You're my-
Semitic
you're my
political
Jason
Mewes.
Mewes.
Yeah, you're my Jason Mewes. DopeyCon's October 5th.
I will.
Will you come sing Amazing Grace?
No. What do you
No.
want me to do with this?
I don't know.
What is DopeyCon?
DopeyCon is a live podcast / dopey convention.
Can I sell a little bit of drugs on the side
You
there?
can sell whatever you
I'll
want.
be selling coke at DopeyCon
You can sell
October
Coke,
5th.
you can sell Trunon.
I'll be
merch.
selling shitty $20 bags
Oh,
of
stop,
coke.
stop it.
Wait.
You're not selling Coke in Dope.
Wait, let me tell you my fucking invention idea that I had.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to actually, I just want to preface this by saying this doesn't technically have to actually work
Yes.
because I can collect the money from it like one of those Kickstarters
Yes.
that like it never comes out.
Yes.
Because I don't know if the technology actually works. So this didn't exist when I was doing drugs, really. I think
Yes.
it maybe did. So you know the fentanyl test strips, right?
Yes.
My idea is to create a key-shaped thing
Yes.
that goes in your key ring,
Yeah.
like a key-shaped product.
And it's
that
a fentanyl test.
that is for doing key bumps with
I figured.
specifically, but that tests for fentanyl.
But what about all the fentanyl addicts that want they want the fentanyl?
But they're not doing key bumps of that.
Do you
aren't
think
they?
people are doing key bumps still? Is that a thing?
I see people do key bumps constantly. My friends did key bumps in front of me the other night.
Coke?
Yeah.
And you're like, you better make sure. Is this where you got the idea?
Oh, yes, and not from the other night, but
Were
like,
you like, do you know there's no fentanyl?
I don't. My whole thing is, I'm like, buy the ticket, take the ride, motherfucker. Do what you got to do. You know, I wouldn't. I'll tell you this: if I was still doing coke, there is not a chance in hell I would be in the bathroom being like, well, put a little bit on the test strip first. I'm a drug addict.
Who's doing that?
I don't know. I think people are doing that.
Dopey
I think they
Nation,
should
are
do
you
that.
using fentanyl test strips?
I think you should do that.
Yeah, I think that's great.
But I know I wouldn't have.
I
done
think that could be our first dopey product is the,
It's
is
the-
the
it's the-
key-shaped fentanyl.
But my whole
test
thing
strip.
is like I don't know how fentanyl test strips work. Like I genuinely just don't know.
How
the
could they
mechanics of
detect
it.
anything when it's powder?
I don't know.
And then how
what
can
do you mean? How do you detect anything?
It's like because you ruin
I think
the
you have to
coke.
put. I know that's the thing. If
I
you
would-
ruin the code.
okay,
I wouldn't.
how could
I
you
wouldn't.
do?
There would not a speck of
You'd
that
need
dust.
dealers to sign up to give you a little
Yeah,
extra to
yeah,
test,
yeah.
but then you want to do that too.
I would do the extra.
Of course you would.
I would do the
Oh,
extra.
that's why you're a fucking drug addict.
That's why I'm a drug addict.
Thank you. That was fun.